This time I'm going to show you how to construct the floor of the shed. From this angle you can see that the floor is made up of 3 pieces of wood sandwiched together. So you have plywood on the bottom, plywood on the top, and then in the center, sandwiched between the 2 pieces of plywood, you have some framing. This is a 2x4 that has been cut down to the thickness of 1 inch. The wood that is sandwiched between the plywood looks like this, and you're going to have a stack of these pieces, a bunch of them just like this. You're going to have a bunch of these that are going to need to be cut to length. But the first thing you need to do is cut the panels. Now I'm going to show you the most important part of your plans for building this floor frame. So here you have on your plans, this is page 178. This is the floor panel, and it shows you the length and the width of the plywood. It also shows you where each one of these framing pieces are installed and how long they are. And here's the next item that's important that you'll need to take a look at in order to cut out these panels. So you need 2 pieces of plywood that are 37 inches by 30 3/4 inches. And you can see that out of 1 sheet of plywood that you will be cutting 3 pieces, and 2 of those are the panels, letter C, for the floor panel. Again, this is a sheet of plywood. Out of 1 sheet of plywood, you're going to cut letters C and letter E1. Letter C is going to be 37 by 30 3/4, and that sheet of plywood looks like this. Here's a full sheet of plywood sitting on some sawhorses. This is how you'll have to set up in order to make all of your layout marks to cut. And this is where the plywood is stacked. Notice that the sign says 4 by 8 sheets of 1/2 inch plywood right here. So here we go. We have, for this part of the project, to measure out our floor panels for the base of our doghouse. You're going to need your plans, a T-square, a pencil, tape measure. On our plans we can see that we've got to measure 30 3/4 inches. We'll measure across from the end, 30 3/4 inches. Make our mark. Take the T-square, set it against the edge and against your 30 3/4 inch mark, and you're going to make a line all the way across. You're also going to do that, you'll measure over, again, 30 3/4 inches to the left, and make another mark. So I have 1 piece measured at 30 3/4 inches. Then I'm going to set the tape measure, start at the 0 here, and go all the way down to 30 3/4. I'm going to make my mark at 30 3/4. And then at our 30 3/4 mark, you're going to take the square, the T-square, set it in place, and again, make your mark all the way across. Now don't forget, on the drawing here it shows you that there are 3 pieces you're going to cut out of this 1 sheet of plywood. You're going to make all the marks for those 3 pieces and then cut them out. So now you have your plans, your plywood, and you have the rudiments of how to cut out each part of these panels for the plywood panels of the doghouse. Next, I'll show you how to cut down the framing pieces that get sandwiched between the plywood. Happy building!